I'm Zena.
And I'm Ben.
And we're from Mob.
We've partnered up with New Balance and Sports Shoes to bring you the Mob Marathon menu. We've got 3 athletes in today, all training for the London Marathon, and we're going to show them how they can get some great nutrition into their diet while training.
We're going to be looking at pre-race meals, race day meals, and post-race. We're going to give you a treat. It's going to be delicious. Make sure you stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Hi, my name's Mark. I'm running the London Marathon with Sports Shoes and New Balance. After I've done the 26.2 miles, I'll be enjoying one of my favourite meals of drunken Thai noodles. I couldn't be in the kitchen today, so Zena is going to show you how to make it. I hope you enjoy it as much as I know I will do.
So, as Mark said, he couldn't be here today, but we are going to make his Thai Drunken Noodles. So, first of all, let me start by saying that no one really knows where the name Drunken Noodles came from. There are different theories. Some say that it was because when you drink so much, you kind of numb your palate and you can't really taste anything, so you had to get something really punchy and really flavorful. Others say that it was simply a mispronunciation between like a Thai translation with American soldiers back in the day, and others still say that it's because it's the best thing to have after a night out. Whatever the reason is, it's delicious, and we're going to show you how to make our version today. The reason this, I think, is great for a post-race meal is because A, it's really tasty, but also it's still really balanced. So we've got loads of veggies, we've got carbs, we've got protein, and this is one of those sort of flexible recipes where you can kind of use whatever veg you have. So I've gone with carrot, tender stem broccoli, spring onions, and sort of the usual aromatics, but whatever veg you have at home, you can kind of use and it will work really, really nicely. What you want to do here is, if you think of a noodle dish, you kind of want all the veg to be uniform and kind of move along with the noodles. So we're going to cut everything into nice thin strips. And I think personally with any stir fry dish, get all your prep done like early on, because once you get going in the pan, like it happens really quickly. So I'm going to prep all my veggies first, then I'm going to move to my chicken, then the sauce, and then we're gonna get stir frying. And once we start stir frying, it comes together in like 10 minutes. Like Mark, I love Thai food. Like, it's one of my favorite cuisines of all time. And I think that takeaway recipes are great because you can get the same sort of amazing flavors that you get from your local takeaway, but with so much more health and nutrition, because you can control, you know, how much veg is going in, how much oil is going in. A lot of times when we have takeaways in restaurants, and that's fine, but there's a lot more oil, a lot more salt. You can control all of that when you're making it at home, and it's one thing that I love to do. And also, I don't know about you, but there's always like a stir fry where you have it and there's like that one veg that you don't want in there, but it's always there. When you make it at home, you can really customize it to be what you want. And so 2 of my favorite vegetables are tender stem broccoli and carrots, but you could do baby corn, you could do green beans, you could do anything really, completely up to you. Oh, by the way, when you cook, I highly recommend having like a bin bowl where you can throw everything into while you're cooking, so you're not sort of running back and forth. I find that really easy to do. I'm not like a fancy, thrifty professional chef, but there are definitely tips that you can learn to like help making cooking at home a lot more fun, a lot more manageable, and a lot tidier, and that's one of them. So you're not sort of running about, especially when you're chopping loads and loads of things. So again, like I did with the carrots, for the broccoli, you're just trying to get long, thin strips. So when you think of, you know, noodles, they're long and they're bendy, so you kind of want the veg to mimic that movement. So when you're twirling or lifting, it's all kind of doing the same thing. So we're just going to keep them in nice sort of long, thin stems. And then for the sort of leafy bits, you can kind of just break them apart. You don't need to cut them. They're just sort of, they'll tear naturally quite well. One thing that is worth mentioning is for the veg that you do pick vegetables that cook kind of in the same time. And if they don't, you can account for that in terms of how you're cooking them. So between a piece of broccoli and a carrot, this will soften up faster than this. So this is a lot bigger than I've made my carrot, so that by the time they cook, they'll cook at the same time. So you don't have one vegetable that's way too mushy and the other that's way too crisp. Okay, veg prepped. I'm now gonna move on to the aromatics. And I don't know that this is, I distinguish between sort of veg and aromatics. For me, the difference is aromatics is sort of like the flavor base of anything. So here we've got some garlic, some really big garlic. I can't tell, you don't know me, so you don't know how big I am, but I can tell you that this garlic is very large. So 4 large cloves, but if you love garlic, go harder on the garlic. If you don't, take it back, completely up to you. So we've got some spring onions, a shallot, and some chili. Now, in a more traditional drunken noodle, you'd use bird's eye chilies, but they are very hot. If you can handle it, go for it. If you can't, red chilies are just fine. And if you don't like spice at all, you can just omit them. Again, like I said, it's a really flexible recipe. So for these, unlike the vegetables, I'm gonna chop these quite thinly. Okay, chili's done. I'm gonna move on to the shallots and the garlic, then the spring onions. I'm gonna try and keep them separately because they're not all gonna go into the pan at the same time. Okay, now the garlic. Just gonna get the ends off, then smash off the skins and give it like a rough slice. The only ingredient you really want to finely chop properly is the chili, just so you're not ending up eating like a massive piece of chili. But everything else you can kind of roughly chop and it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna do a very thin slice on the garlic. There we go. And lastly, the spring onions. You can use them both. We're going to cook both with the tops and the sort of green parts and white parts. So again, rough slice and we're good to go. Veg done. I like to get my veg done first. We have one more bit of chopping to do, and that's the chicken. So I'm just gonna move this aside. Ordinarily, I would always say, to avoid cross-contamination, use different boards, but nothing of this dish is gonna be raw. They're all going into a very hot wok, so it's okay to sort of share space. But generally, if you can separate. So I'm just gonna move these to one side and get our chicken. Today, I am using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. They're also called chicken thigh fillets in the supermarket. They are, in my opinion, far superior to chicken breast, but you can use chicken breast if you prefer. In this case, this is a post-race meal, so this is more of a treat yourself meal. Dark meat has more fat, which makes it more juicy, more succulent, more tender. If you did want to keep it a little bit more lean, you could definitely use chicken breast. Just know that it does dry out a little bit faster. So we're just gonna cut these into sort of fairly chunky strips. Think, again, noodles, long movement. That's what we're trying to do with all of our prep here. And the weird thing about this recipe, or at least the weird thing for me, is, as a chef, you season always, but this is one of those things where there's not gonna be a single pinch of salt and pepper. Everything is gonna go in the pan dry because the flavor comes from the sauce, which I'm gonna show you in a second. You could also switch the protein out for something else. Like if you didn't want chicken, you could do pork, you could do beef, you could keep it entirely vegan and do tofu, mushrooms, aubergines, just more veg would be delightful. Okay, chicken is prepped. I'm gonna wash my hands now and wash my knife.
Hi guys, just a quick update on how my training's going. Completed all my long runs now, 2 weeks out, so tapering. I think the key thing for me now is sorting out my nutrition, make sure I'm eating properly for the event, and also staying injury free, which I think all runners want to do at this stage. But yeah, everything's done, everything's complete. I couldn't have done any more, so yeah, ready for it.
Okay, great. So all of our prep is done. We're gonna put the sauce together and then we're gonna start stir frying. So for the sauce, it is a combination of oyster sauce, dark soy sauce, fish sauce, sugar, and a bit of water. And that's it, that's the sauce. I'm gonna whisk this up enough that the sugar dissolves, and then we can start stir frying. I'm gonna heat a wok over a pretty high heat. If you don't have a wok, you can use a large saute pan or a very large non-stick frying pan. I think I would definitely recommend using something that's non-stick because it's just gonna be a pain otherwise for you to deal with. I'm gonna get some neutral oil in there. This is vegetable oil, but any sort of neutral tasting oil with a high smoke point is good. I wouldn't use an olive oil for stir frying just because it burns at high temperature. So vegetable oil, sunflower oil, that kind of thing, you're good to go. Chicken goes in. That noise tells me it was a good temperature. I'm just gonna wash my hands. Okay, so we're gonna stir fry this until it's almost done. It'll take about 6 minutes, maybe less than that. But the whole point of stir frying is that you're cooking with really high heat and you're cooking quite fast. So the more you move it, the better. Spreading it out into an even layer like this and trying not to overcrowd the pan is good because you'll be able to get lots more color on it. Whereas if it's sort of all clumped together, you create lots of steam and then you're basically boiling it instead of stir frying it. It'll still be tasty, but it won't be quite as tasty as it could be. So while that finishes cooking off, I'm gonna get to this guy over here, which is my Thai basil. Thai basil is different to regular Italian basil or even British basil. It's very aniseedy, so think sort of licorice notes, a bit peppery, a little minty almost, and that is a key component here. They're gonna go in at the very end. So since I have some time while this browns, I'm just gonna get them off. So at this point, we've got some color on the chicken. It's basically almost done. Safety first. So, chicken goes in. You kind of want to, there is some fat at the bottom of this pan. You want to preserve that. I'm not just going to dump it all. I'm going to spoon it out like this. So now we want to get in with our veg. And they're going to go again in, no seasoning. It might feel counterproductive, but just trust the process. This sauce is where the flavor is at. Okay, so as far as the veg is going, I think for me, we're at a good place. It's still, I mean, just taste it. It's cooked at this point and see. It's softened, but it's still got a good bite to it. That's kind of how I like it, but you can keep it up to you. At that point, I'm gonna lower the heat ever so slightly and then add the garlic, the chili, and the spring onions. And that only needs a minute, which is why I'm putting it at the very end because these ingredients tend to burn. This is how you know something is good. When something is this colorful, you know it's packed full of nutrients. So that's had about a minute. I'm gonna take this off the heat now, turn the fire off, and then we're gonna turn to our noodles. Let me clear up the station a little bit. We're gonna keep our sauce. I'm gonna move this board, and I'll be back with my noodles. I'm using some rice noodles here because that's what would most traditionally be used. I'm just gonna cover these with boiling water. And for this particular kind, I'm gonna let them sit for about 4 minutes. There we go. I'm just gonna push this down so that all of them are in the water and nice and submerged. Once they are, I'm just gonna get like a plate or some cling film and put this over the top and let them sit for about 4 minutes. Okay, so 4 minutes, and then we'll come back to it. So it's been just under 5 minutes, so let's check these noodles. The sauce. And then finally the chicken. And then we're just gonna stir fry this until it all comes together really nicely. And then we're only gonna add the Thai basil in at the very, very end. So at this point, I'm happy with it, so I'm gonna take it off the heat, and I'm gonna finally add my Thai basil. This is it, guys. Easy, tasty, fake away. It's glossy, it's salty, it's a bit sweet, it's so good. You're gonna love it. This is our drunken noodles with chicken. It's delicious, perfect for post-race. You deserve a treat, but it's still balanced. You got the carbs, you got the protein, you got the veg. It's very, very tasty. You're gonna wanna make this recipe, guys. It's so, so good. I'm gonna leave the link in the description box, as well as the link to the whole Mob Marathon menu. You're gonna wanna make it. Let us know how you get on. Like, comment, subscribe, all the fun things. And hopefully you will love this as much as we do.